Imagine if Halo and Portal got all dressed up and went out for a night on the town. They just so happened to go to the same bar, ordered their drinks, and then made eye contact across a crowded room. They hit it off. That night, Portal stayed at Halo's place, and then they got married. Eventually. Years passed and the time came. The natural urge to procreate overwhelmed them, and out popped a little baby. And they named that baby Splitgate Arena Warfare. Now that probably isn't the best name for someone who isn't from the future, or ever. But of course it's not the name of a baby, it's the name of a new game that's currently in open beta. And I've been checking it out, but is it worth your time? First of all, it's worth noting that the game is free. Absolutely free, and if you want to try it out, you can do so right now on Steam, as there's an open beta running until Monday. It will then release as a free-to-play game later this month, but what is it? There's certainly a lot going on visually, but Splitgate is an FPS game, and as part of the name would suggest, it's an arena shooter, but with a bit of a twist. If you've ever played Quake or Unreal Tournament especially, parts of this game will feel very familiar to you. I could instantly tell that it was running on the Unreal Engine just from my time trying out the recent Unreal Tournament reboot some time ago. The floating camera before you start was a bit of a giveaway. While those games are definitely some of the best arena shooters, the truth is that Splitgate really is Halo meets Portal. The movement feels very Halo-esque for a start, and one of the weapons is a battle pistol that will absolutely remind players of Halo because of the range that you can take players out with it. It's essentially the Halo Magnum, so it shouldn't be too much of a surprise that there's a lot of Halo DNA in the game because some of the developers are Halo 3 veterans, so clearly they've got a lot of experience and love for the Halo franchise and that sort of gameplay style. So how does it work? Well, it's really straightforward. You jump into any game with a primary weapon and a secondary, which can be set up by the server admin. And then you've got to start thinking in portals. So when you want to put a portal down, you put the first one down with Q and the second one down with E. Sounds familiar? You can only put portals down on specifically marked blue walls, but when they are down, not only can you jump through them, you can also see through them and shoot through them. Yes, you can shoot through enemy portals too. Depending on your velocity, you will keep that when coming out of the other portal, so you can pull off some really cool moves. When it comes to weapons, there are currently 9 in the game. You have the pistol, which is very similar to the Halo Magnum, and then the assault rifle, which is fully auto, the battle rifle, guess what, it's a burst fire gun, then the plasma rifle, a railgun, a rocket launcher, a shotgun, SMG, and the sniper rifle, which is incredibly satisfying to use. You know the drill. Now the gunplay itself is very similar to Halo in terms of the recoil mechanics. All of the weapons have very little recoil. This is not really a hyper-realistic game about controlling your crosshair, but it's more about precision aim. If you land a headshot, then an enemy is going to go down really fast, but if neither of you land that sweet spot, then with the assault rifle you could end up having a bit of a strafe off. The sniper, on the other hand, devastating. There's also a very Halo-esque melee attack if you want to get up close and personal. You've got regenerating health, so make sure that you grab a bit of cover after a gunfight, but it does regen really fast when you're not getting shot at, so not too much of a problem. And then you've also got a jetpack that allows you to boost for a small distance, so you'll want to monitor that if you're trying to get between a large gap. I do wish there was a mantle in this game though, so when I reached a ledge I could pull myself up. Maybe that will be added in a future update. I think that we need to talk about arena shooters in general though. Ian Proul is the co-founder of 1047 Games who make Splitgate, and he was quoted as saying in a recent PC Gamer interview that I think some people look at our game like, oh, no one cares about arena shooters anymore. I totally couldn't disagree more. He basically goes on to say that there are people getting tired of battle royale games these days, and this is a game that offers something different and it's something that players want. I'm a little on the fence with this nowadays though. I think when I was younger, arena games were the go-to game. You had Counter-Strike, and that came out in 1999, 2000, and then Quake 3 Arena, Unreal Tournament were around 1999 as well. And Quake and Unreal Tournament were huge games back then. In fact, a lot of people who played CS also played Quake or Unreal. I remember playing Instagib on Unreal Tournament at LANs in between Counter-Strike matches, even many years after it released. But that desire for arena games has definitely fallen off on the whole. The latest Quake release, Quake Champions, has been sort of popular, especially with die-hard Quake players, but as far as I'm aware it's still in early access and it's not really making waves. Unreal Tournament, on the other hand, recently got a reboot of sorts, but that release fell flat, and most of the reason for that I think is Fortnite, as they're both games made by Epic. Once Fortnite came on the scene, I imagine that there was very little point spending development time on the new Unreal Tournament reboot. Priorities were put in place and moved around, and Unreal Tournament was the victim. I just don't see much buzz for arena shooters anymore, and they can be fun for a couple of hours, but I just get burnt out and bored with them really quickly. I just feel like I've done this so many times. But does that mean that arena shooters can never be popular again? No, I don't think that's the case. There can absolutely be a possibility for a game to come along that grips people, but is this that game? I'm not so sure. At its core, Splitgate is a very fun game. Mechanically it's done well, and it's rewarding when you outmaneuver someone with a portal or end up getting a triple kill or even a quad kill. The kills are satisfying, much like they are in Halo, but you have to accept with Splitgate and any game like this that that's the only real reward you're going to get. The game is basic. There are no huge battles, there are no battle passes or challenges to work towards. You've got the core mechanics of the game that are easy enough to learn and solid, but difficult to master. So I think the goal with Splitgate is making a game that offers up a challenging experience and hoping that players will stick with it to try and learn the game. I don't think Splitgate is a bad game, although it is a little rough around the edges right now. The UI I think is straight out of the Unreal Handbook, and in terms of features, there isn't a whole lot here. You do have a tutorial that shows you how to play the game, at least the basics, and then if you want to, you can jump into a game against AI to get you started. And then you've got the play screen that allows you to either join a ranked game, use the server browser, or host a custom game. There's also a stats page and a locker page where you can customize your soldier and your weapons. There isn't a whole lot of visual customization, but there is a basic level. So currently in the game there are 6 maps available: Olympus, Outpost, Helix, Club Silo, Pantheon and Highwind. Some of the maps look pretty nice, but the core design is reasonably basic to help the movement of the game. That's understandable. Lines of sight tend to be quite long, a bit like in Halo really. Lots of verticality on these maps too, to really allow you to make some nice plays with the portals. Visually, they remind me a lot of Unreal Tournament in some areas, unsurprisingly, although Unreal Tournament has some more enclosed areas. Of course, with the portal system needing those blue walls to use, then the maps have to be built around them in a way. Game modes include Domination, which most players should be pretty familiar with, fighting over control of 3 points around the map. And then you've got standard TDM, King of the Hill, Free for All, and even a game mode called Teabag Confirmed. I don't even want to know what that is. If you're a fan of the old school Instagib modes from Quake and Unreal Tournament, they are also present. So in conclusion, wrapping things up, the main problem I see with Splitgate is that it's not really the game itself, but Halo. The game that Splitgate is basing itself off is actually coming to PC now. At some point this year, Microsoft is starting the process of releasing the Halo games remastered one by one on PC. And then we've got Halo Infinite in the future, and I think there's going to be a large amount of players who will play the hell out of those games. I for one am one of those. Of course though, Splitgate does have something unique in the portals, and it does take a little bit of time to learn and even longer to master. There is this moment in your head when you put a portal down where you're working out the orientation of it on the other side, and that time reduces the more that you play. I suppose if you have played a lot of Portal in the past, you'll have an advantage in that area. The game does have leaderboards, so players can aspire to that, but when it comes to the core gunplay, Portal aside, can any game really do Halo as well as Halo? No matter how good you make the game, Halo has got the name and the legacy behind it, and when all the games finally reach PC, I'm not convinced that there's going to be a huge player base around to play Splitgate. But I do have to commend the developers for trying something like this. It's a really great idea, and while it is a bit bare bones, I think there's some potential here, but I will stand by the fact that arena shooters just aren't as popular or as enjoyable as they once were. I think gameplay has moved on a lot since then. And while people might be getting a bit tired of BR games now, I don't think arena shooters are the answer. Don't get me wrong, I love a good arena shooter. I've played so many in the past, and I wish that they were more popular. Maybe if developers keep making interesting ideas like this, they'll return one day, and Splitgate after all is free to play. But only time will tell. And that's all for today, folks. If you played the game, what do you think of it? Remember, like I said, it is open beta this weekend and free to play. So if you're interested, download it, give it a shot. You might like it. With that said, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.